In Ukraine, a major shake-up at the very top of the government has triggered political shockwaves and raised fresh questions about Kiev's negotiating posture with the United States. Well, President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced the resignation of his chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, a figure which has long been seen as the president's closest confidant and the country's lead negotiator in talks with Washington. The decision comes just hours after anti-corruption investigators conducted a search of Yermak's residence. In his nightly address, Zelensky said that he was resetting the presidential office, stressing that Russia was waiting for Ukraine to falter during its delicate peace negotiations. Now, Yermak's name was absent from the new list of Ukrainian officials who will take part in the next round of talks with the United States. Amid this political turbulence, Kiev once again came under fire. Early Saturday, loud explosions rocked the capital as Russia launched a fresh drone attack. According to the city's military administration, at least 2 people were killed, 15 were injured, and a residential building along with several vehicles was damaged. Ukraine's foreign minister says Russia launched dozens of missiles and over 500 drones in the overnight attack. Well, despite the escalating attacks, Zelensky says that Ukraine is preparing for upcoming negotiations with the United States, which are aimed at securing dignified peace with Russia. He emphasized that passing the 2026 national budget remains critical, ensuring Ukraine's defense capabilities and preserving financial stability.
Now we are preparing for a meeting with the American side to discuss the steps that need to be taken to ensure that peace is truly achieved, and that it is a dignified peace. And when all attention is focused on diplomacy and defense in war, internal strength is needed. Internal strength is the foundation of our external unity and our relations with the world.
Зовнішньої єдності і наших відносин зі світом.
Sources say a Ukrainian delegation is set to travel to the United States this weekend. Talks may take place in Florida as Washington pushes forward with its own proposal for ending the war. In a related development, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to skip next week's NATO foreign ministers meeting, a highly unusual absence, especially as allies are set to discuss American diplomacy on Ukraine. Now, while Rubio stays away from Brussels, Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff is expected in Moscow for discussions which are linked to the diplomatic process. In Europe, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has criticized Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban for meeting Russia's President Vladimir Putin, and this is without a European mandate.
We have been aware of Viktor Orban's position for years. This is not his first trip to Moscow either. He already made a trip to Moscow in July last year, immediately after taking over the presidency of the European Council. That visit was not only unsuccessful. A few days after this visit, the Russian army launched some of its most violent attacks against civilian infrastructure and civilian targets in Ukraine. But he is acting without a European mandate, and he is doing so without consulting us.
Orban's 14th visit to Moscow comes despite a series of EU sanctions on Russia and Europe's shift away from Russian energy. He has repeatedly questioned Western military aid for Kiev, straining EU unity. In Warsaw, Polish security forces are stepping up vigilance and patrolling tracks, and this is as part of Operation Horizon, launched earlier this month to protect critical infrastructure. The move follows a string of suspicious incidents that Polish authorities say bear the hallmarks of Russian sabotage attempts.